Hello, everyone. Welcome to the episode 5 of Kevin's Corner, and I have my next guest with me, Savvy Squirrel. Savvy, would you like to introduce yourself for those who don't know who you are?
Hi everyone. I'm Savvy Squirrel. I'm a variety streamer, but I mainly do spooky content. Um, and it's very nice to meet you guys.
Yeah. So, I want you to think back to when you first started streaming. What were you doing at the time, and what made you wanted to start streaming in the first place? What was it like?
When I first started streaming, it was actually a little bit chaotic because my first stream was with some friends. Um, and I didn't have anything set up, and they wanted to stream the next day, and they actually stayed up late and helped me set everything up all night. And it went very well. When I first started, though, I was just working full time, and my husband actually encouraged me to start streaming because I watch a lot of streamers and I really love gaming. And so he was like, why don't you just start like hanging out with people? Because I don't really have a lot of friends IRL that like games as much as I do.
It's always great to have a supportive partner. So, how did you come up with your username and model, and what the model that you use now? Was that like your first model, or did you have previous models beforehand?
So, my username is actually something I've always used for all my gaming. I actually the savvy part is came from my mom. She just suggested it to me when I was trying to think of something related to a squirrel, and the squirrel nickname I actually got from my husband. So we've known each other for a very long time, and he used to call me Squirrel, and so everyone called me Squirrel. And then I wanted to have a gamer tag, and I was like, I don't know what would go good with Squirrel. And my mom actually said, why don't you do savvy, because you're like quick and nimble and tiny, like like you're savvy with things. So I did savvy squirrel. This is not my first model, and I do actually have a debut that's going to be coming up in July. But my first model, it was very similar to this one, but I feel like it didn't look enough like a squirrel. It looked more like a fox. So we changed it to the new one, and then I have an official model that I have put a lot of time into that will be officially ready like July. I believe I'm gonna do the debut.
Ooh, that is very exciting. That's also a cute origin story in regard to the name too. N- Now, when you first started streaming, I know you mainly do horror content, and you just recently started doing book reading. Would was that the content you started out with, or was it different when you first started out?
No, it's actually been the same. The only thing that's new is the book reading. I've always been a fan of like horror games. I watch a lot of like YouTubers actually playing horror games. And I think one streamer, I watch Queso play a lot of horror games too. But they're like my favorite, and so when I started streaming, I decided like that was what I wanted to do, but I didn't want to limit myself to only horror, which is why I do claim as a variety streamer, but mainly horror content. But the book reading is something new. I talked with my community. I recently stopped working, so I have more free time. So I talked with my community and decided I would start doing like a story time with them, and everyone seemed to really like it.
Okay. Now I'm curious. What is it specifically about horror and horror games that you find appealing as a streamer?
It might sound weird, but I like getting scared. I think it's so fun to like it's like living the horror, but as if like if you to see if you make the good decisions. Like you watch movies all the time and people are like, "Oh no, why did she go that way?" or "Why did she make that decision?" But like when you're in the game, you're making those decisions for your characters. So I think exciting to see like where my brain will go during that moment, which is usually panic.
That is a very understandable answer, and I feel you on that when watching either a horror TV show or a movie. Like, oh no, they're right behind you, or if you had just gone in this direction, and so forth. Did like that genre, just the TV to movie, did that spur your love of the genre, or was it horror video game that did so?
It was movie and TV. Since I was a kid, I've always watched horror stuff. So I actually used to, not by choice, but I had a babysitter when I was very, very young. I was like in elementary school, and she loved horror movies, and without my mom's permission, used to just play like Scream and like all kinds of like horror movies. So I became like obsessed with them for a while. Um, my mom was not very happy because of me having nightmares as a kid, but I ended up like really loving them, and after that I just always watched horror movies since I was young.
Yeah. It when it comes to horror, I we could start like on the movie and TV side of things. Were you more like into like just the classic stuff, or more into like the newer genre that they have nowadays?
I would say the classic stuff only because a lot of stuff now can be, I mean, there are some good movies now, but sometimes I feel like it can be like too much. Like it's not um cohesive, I guess you could say, in the like the plot and everything. I do like some movies that I've seen now, but some are just like, okay, well, I won't be watching that again versus like an old classic like Nightmare on Elm Street. I'll watch that again and I feel like happy to watch it again.
Yeah, I'm with you there. And while horror's not my personal biggest genre, there are like series that I've also grown up with, like Goosebumps and Are You Afraid of the Dark, and the classic Scream movies, and that horror area.
Right.
That was very fun when I was during my childhood, and when I was getting into that. Now, on the video game side, are you more into the indie horror, or like say the mainline horror games?
Um, Honestly, I would say both. I'm not really picky about it. I just like a good story. I don't really like the video games where you sit in one spot the whole game and like hide, I guess. Like the Nightmare, what is it called? Five Nights at Freddy's. I like those games, but I prefer the games where they made it where you can walk around, like The Secret of the Mimic and things like that. And like I kind of like the exploration or like a story with it.
Okay. Now, just from what you've seen and what you played, just starting with the horror TV and movie side of things, how do you think that genre has evolved, from, like when you first started watching it till now?
Um, on the TV side, I would say they have a lot of good horror shows that I could definitely recommend, and a lot of good movies. I would say Evolved. I haven't seen anything new in quite a while that I actually really enjoyed that was horror related. I think it's people are running out of ideas nowadays, and a lot of it is always going to be reused, which is expected, you know, the same kind of creatures, the same kind of idea, the same kind of story plot. Um, so it all becomes kind of repetitive. So I think it has evolved in the sense of like the graphics and like how they can not is it graphics? How they can edit stuff to look nicer, but not really story wise.
Yeah. Now, how about on the video game side? From what you played so far, how do you think the genre has evolved over there?
Video game wise, I would say I have actually really enjoyed the video game side more because there's a lot of repetition, but there is more variety to the video games, I would say, in the style and in the storytelling in the video games.
Okay, that's a very understandable answer. Now, going back to VTubing, from your personal experience, what's it like to be a VTuber, and what makes VTubing so special?
Um, what's it like to be a VTuber? I would say it's very exciting, and I feel like it's a lot more comfortable than being a face cam streamer. I only say that because of the fact that you can kind of feel more comfortable in your own skin without having to feel any pressure or like, oh my god, did I just make a weird face that people are gonna clip, or like, feel comfortable in your shoes to just be yourself. I know I've seen things where people are like, oh, they hide behind VTubers, but like the VTuber model, but I feel like in reality, if you have like really bad anxiety, like I actually do, um, it can really be nerve-wracking. Like I think you wouldn't even be able to go live if you have such bad anxiety, and the having a VTuber model kind of gives you that door that opens it up so you can feel more comfortable to go live and talk to people and not feel so pressured, especially if you don't want to be famous in the sense of like your actual self be famous. Like some people don't want to be stalked or like hounded day to day like other streamers that have to like have security all the time. So I like the level of privacy that VTubing gives also.
Yeah, that is very true, and it's also nice that you don't have to worry about having to get ready and looking nice for the camera. Oh gosh, is my face there? Is my hair okay? And just the model, especially nowadays, can just be extremely well made. I don't know what you've seen out there so far, but some of the stuff that I personally seen in the VTuber space have left me very impressed.
Oh yeah, I've seen even a lot of like the 3D models now where they can like move their hands and stuff. I'm like that is so cool and definitely something in the future that I would be interested in.
Yeah. When you first started out, like your first model, how have things changed from when you used that model to the one you're using now?
Um, I would say the one I'm using now, the rigging is a little bit more expressive, which I do like, because I feel like when you can't really make certain faces or do certain things, it's hard to like really be lifelike. And I feel like when you're streaming, because of the fact that we're not showing our faces, like our model should be able to express those things. Other than that, my first model was beautiful and I loved her. It was really just the fact that it didn't look like a squirrel to me. That is the reason why I changed it mainly. Other than that, I do love my first model and I appreciate it so much, but I need to be a squirrel.
I gotta collect all the nuts, all the acorns too.
Yes.
Now, I know you do have a debut plan soon. As a VTuber, what's it like, to prepare for a day for a day for excuse me for a debut like that, especially one that's getting closer and closer and gonna have a new model. What's it like to go through that experience?
It's really stressful if I'm being honest, only because so you don't have to have like a big extravagant debut, but there's a lot of things that go into it if you want to have like a successful debut, I would say. And I would say the level of success depends on like what your definition of it is. Like for me, it would be the exposure and making sure like everyone that does support me is aware of the new model and all the new stuff that I'm gonna be having. So it's just a lot of planning and sense of like, how am I gonna advertise? How am I gonna make sure every single person that I know knows that I'm gonna do this on this date? And like other stuff, like I wanna do merch, so I have to get like stuff, assets to do merch with, and all the branding. You want to make sure the branding matches like your background and panels and all that stuff. And it's been literally like months of preparation because I've gotten everything kind of little by little so that it's a little easier on me. But I would say it's a little stressful to do by yourself.
Is there any advice you could give to those that are either planning a debut or would like to do one in the future?
I would say definitely do everything little by little. And I see that because financially, it can be extremely hard to try to buy all the assets at once. Do little by little. And then number two, don't give in to the peer pressure of showing your model early. Because if you show it early, it ruins the surprise and then the hype dies down because they already know what it looks like. So it's not as exciting to come to the actual debut.
Oh yeah, that I can definitely agree with because it's important that you want to have your audience to be excited and hyped up and something to look forward to as well.
Yeah, that's why I feel like don't ruin a good surprise.
Now I know you actually just did a collaboration today with Dirty Princess, playing Peak and Crowd Control. So as a streamer, what is it like to do a collaboration and a crowd control at the same time? What was like the setup like for that? What was it like? Excuse me. What was the experience like during stream?
I would say anytime you use crowd control, it can get a little chaotic, and can be overstimulating, definitely. And that's something that you kind of have to power through with any collab because some collabs, depending on the number of people, can be overstimulating. I find myself where I do tend to like get a little bit more quiet when I feel overstimulated, and I have to like push through that and try not to be so shy when there's so many people. But you also don't want to like when you're collabing with these people I have collabed with, but I would say when you collab with new people, definitely don't try to like overtalk people or like kind of like overpower them because that sometimes can lead to like everybody yelling over each other and then they're not gonna want to collab again because you're overpowering everything or like fighting to talk. I like usually for me I try to like go with the flow and just talk when I find an opening and like have a good time. Like of course I'll insert myself and like talk, but I try not to like overpower anyone that way everybody's getting a chance to talk and everybody's having a good time.
Now, is there like anyone you'd like to collaborate in the future, or like a stream you've always wanted to do but haven't done yet?
I would. There are two streamers that I love and I would love to collaborate with. I don't know if you know Limu. She's like a ferret VTuber.
I
I think
don't know.
so. Her name is Limalicious, and then Moo Moo Clover. I just think they're so adorable, and I would love to collab with them in the future if I could. They're both very nice people. Um, in a stream that I would want to do, honestly, I want to do like an award show one day. I've been considering something like that, but I'm not big enough to do that, I don't think. Like an award show where you pick your favorite streamers and stuff.
Ooh, that would be exciting. I know one thing you could look into is like a community award show. Like if there's any recognition or anyone from your community that you would like to give special recognition to, that would be an idea, and that's something I've seen streamers do.
It'd be so fun. That is such a good idea.
Yeah. Yeah, if you ever do host something like that, I'd love to tune in and see how it turns out.
Oh yeah, no, I hope you don't mind. I'm gonna yoink that idea now.
Oh, okay. Note it down. Note it down.
Yes, that is such a good idea. And I love my people. I want to like make sure they know I appreciate them. That is such a good idea.
Yeah. W- What's it been like, growing and interacting with your community? What makes your community so special to you as a streamer?
I would say my community is very, very supportive. I'm actually really thankful because they tease me and they may play around, but they're super supportive. Like if I go raid someone, they will all follow. Like they will all follow the people that I raid. Especially if I follow, they follow with me. If I'm watching someone or I'm friends with someone, they make sure to support my friends. They're very, very kind people, and I'm actually like so shocked and so thankful to have the support that I have. Even when I've had like mental issues or health issues, they're all like, no, but your health is first. Like, focus on your health. And they're so patient and they wait for me. Like, I was hospitalized recently for like a week and I was so nervous. Like, people were not gonna come see me for being gone for so long. But they all came back and they all like missed me and were very nice about it. And I was so happy that they like care so much.
Oh, that's wonderful. I think every streamer has that fear, like if they take a hiatus or they're gonna be away for a bit, like oh my gosh, is my audience still gonna be there? When I come back, is there any advice you could give to other streamers who may be going through that mindset at the moment?
I would say as long as you are communicating, I think that they'll always be there waiting for you, in my opinion. As long as you communicate, you don't have to say like details, but just at least say like, hey, I'm going through this mental thing, or hey, I'm having like a health issue, I'm a little bit sick, and just communicate with people and don't just disappear randomly.
Mm, that is all great words of advice indeed. So VTubing has exploded in the past year. I don't know if you've been to a convention recently or at all, but from my personal experience, it used to be like if there was a VTuber, maybe they had one panel or tucked away in this little section in the dealer's room, and now we have multiple panels with them, or even concerts and a whole section dedicated to them in the dealer's room. Where do you see VTubing going from here?
Honestly, I think VTubing is gonna become more popular. And I just say that because it's already grown so much so. Like we were in I forgot the name of that award show like for games and like the peanut one. What is that one called? I forget the name of it.
What is the game awards? Is that what we're thinking of?
Yeah, I think that's what it is. And I'm like now like VTubers are included in that and I think like the more and more like VTubers there are, there's like people that do songs, people that do like acting, and then there's the games and I feel like all of us are just doing there's so many of us now, even some facecam streamers have switched to be like VTubers and I think it's just more comfortable and I don't see like an issue with it. I really think that everyone should feel comfortable in their own skin, and if I think that this will be an opening to allow VTubers to be like the number one in the gaming community.
Are there any particular models that you've seen around the VTuber community that really left you impressed at all?
Um, any models? I mean, there's so many. um, I don't know, cause I if I did, it would be one of my friends who I am personally getting her rigger. Her name is Ivixie. I do absolutely love her model, and I feel like her rigger does such an amazing job. Like her model is just so like lifelike and fluid and not overly bouncy, but still like a person, and I really love it. And that's actually who I'm trying to get to do my rigging.
Oh, that's exciting. Yeah, the rigging technology that I've seen nowadays is just extremely impressive, especially when we go from simple PNG with maybe one or two frames to full body tracking right down to the eyes and everything. And now it's starting to even get into the 3D model area. It kind of makes you wonder, like, okay, well, where's that gonna go from here? Both model and rigging and tracking wise.
Right. It has grown so much. They've added so many things like the puff cheek and the tongue sticking out and like people waving. There's literally so much now.
Now, from 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 your experience, how has streaming in general evolved? Like when you first started streaming to today.
Um, well, I'm a fairly new streamer. I've been streaming for like a year. Um, I would say from what I've seen as it evolved, um, maybe in the technology, because there's always new things that you can use, new softwares, new bots, new ways to integrate and interact with chat. And I really love that the most. And I would say because I like the little avatars that I use on my stream, it feels like they're with me, like on screen. And I really enjoy that the most. That's why I will not get rid of them.
Now, from your experience, what's it like to grow as both a streamer and a VTuber? Like from when you first started out to your audience today?
I would say it's hard to grow, but you have to just kind of push through. And for me, I would see the most success when I do post more content. I do see when I get more like follows and new viewers whenever I post like my content consistently like on other platforms. It's really not just about the streaming, and I say that some people can make it by the just the streaming alone, but it does take a lot more work that way. But my advice would be to make sure you do content and make sure that you have your about page filled out if you're on Twitch or YouTube. Make sure you have your about page and your your panels, because of the fact that when you're not streaming and people come to look at you, that's the first thing they see that describes you.
Mm. Now, I know you recently started book reading on your stream, and that was an idea from your community. What it basically asking your community like, hey, what else, what other streaming ideas should we do, or what are some other moments that made you go, oh, okay, let's try book reading on stream.
So I'm actually like pretty open with my community. It was actually my idea that I had with my mod, the Ruby Dragon who's in chat. Hello. But I kind of get ideas of like, oh, I want to do this hobby. And then I'm like, okay, well, I want to share this with my community. So I'll go and stream and I'll say like, hey guys, do you want to see me paint or do you want to see me read? And they're like, yeah, like we'll watch, we'll listen. And they did, and they always do. They're so kind about it. I was nervous for the reading because I was like, oh, I think people might click off or like fall asleep because it's just reading. But everyone actually really enjoyed it, and I was really surprised because I like it because I feel more relaxed when I'm reading. And so like now I can integrate like my two hobbies together, and that's kind of like the best thing for it.
Yeah, it's very relaxing to listen to as well. Did you get the idea from other streamers who read books on stream, or was it all on your own?
I actually rated a streamer. I can't remember her name because I haven't seen her because she gets on when I'm sleeping. But I rated a streamer who was reading a book and she had like the most lovely voice. I can't sing, but she also sings. And all she does is read. She doesn't do games or anything. And I was like, this is actually so peaceful. Like when I was listening to her, and I was like, I wonder if like my people would like that. And so then I just went and I asked everyone, and they're like, yeah. And I let them like pick the book and everything. We did do a vote on it. So that way I made sure I was reading something that everyone likes.
Yeah, what's it like as a streamer to read books on stream? Are there like any advice you could give for others who may be exploring doing that?
If you're dyslexic, which I am, and I have a hard time reading, I actually enjoy reading, but I have a hard time reading out loud. I use a bookmark to kind of like underline the sentence I'm on, which sounds childish, but if you have like dyslexia, it's really, really hard to read and like not lose your place or like read words backwards. So that is something I did. And then the other thing I would say that I realized when I did do the reading, um, it looks like your model is looking downward and it can sometimes mess with the tracking. I'm gonna move my camera up higher while I'm reading so that it looks more like I'm reading to them instead of my model's just facing the floor. Because I want it to be like more lifelike. I don't want it to be like a model. I want them to see me like as a person.
Oh, for sure, and that's very good advice indeed. I know another thing you like to do on your stream, just have like a horror video, and we all just sit there and watch and react to it. Where did that idea come from?
That came from my favorite YouTuber. So I watch a YouTuber called Corey Kenshin, who is my absolute favorite. He does a spooky time Sundays, or no, Scary Spooky Sunday. And he doesn't do them anymore. I guess he's been like, he keeps going on hiatuses, but I love those and I absolutely like miss them so, so much. And so when I started streaming, I was like, maybe I could like change it and like do it my way because he kind of watches it and turns it into a video. He's not like a live streamer. So for me, I just make the playlist myself and then I watch it with everyone live. And I don't watch it ahead of time so I can give like a genuine reaction.
I, I don't know if you ever watched either Goosebumps or excuse me, Are You Afraid of the Dark growing up? But one thing that I think would be a lot of fun to do with the community, especially for others that may have grown up with those series, is play those and react live on stream or even other classic horror movies or TV shows, especially the more obscure ones that either may have been forgotten about or haven't seen in a long time.
Those ones I would. The only issue with those ones is it like considered copyright, I think. That's the only reason why I haven't played like any actual like movies, official movies or official shows. Cause I did do one time. It was like I think a documentary, and I got in trouble for it. They didn't take down my page or anything. They gave me a warning, so I was like, okay, I'll just stick to like spooky short films that are not gonna be like flagged.
Ah, gotcha. That's completely understandable.
Like we'll probably do them in the Discord server rather than like stream live for like actual movies and stuff.
You all know what to do, people. Join the Discord. We got Acorn. uh, are there any, like, say, running jokes or running gags in your community? Since you mentioned that they like to tease you quite a bit in a good way.
So I crack my husband's toes. That sounds so weird. I like to pull his toes and like crack them. It makes like a popping sound. He hates it, and now my community thinks I like feet. And even worse, my bird likes toes. My bird likes to chase you and bite toes. I have no clue why. And they say that he got it from me. And I'm like, I don't bite people's toes. And yep, so they say I like feet, which is not true. And the other thing is they always say they're gonna grill me.
I love that Ruby Dragon saying, "Yeah, we have a clip of you talking about how much you like biting Toad." I'm sure they're just rubbing their hands and smiling in the chat right now.
Right. No, they have a clip of me talking about a cat that likes toes, and they clipped it out of context and they use it against me.
Oh no! Oh no!
Yeah.
uh, so, my last question to you is. what advice would you give to anyone who is looking to get into VTubing now, or I guess both streaming and VTubing, so to say?
Number one, make sure your computer is able to handle whatever softwares you plan to use. And do your research because you basically become your own tech person unless you're lucky and have a tech person on your own. Um, I have become my own tech person and it is very stressful. I did a lot of research. Um, I would say number one, make sure your computer is configured properly for doing your streaming and make sure you have all your softwares that you want to use. And I would say get your brand. Like I say brand because sometimes people switch up a lot of their branding and it can affect like your viewership because of the fact of like changing to a completely new thing that people don't enjoy versus like they came to see you. Like for me, I do the gaming, they may not want to see me do something else. Like so make sure you have exactly what you want to do before you start streaming. Like are you um gonna stick with the squirrel theme and you're gonna be a gamer and all these things? You want to kind of have all that planned out before you do stuff. That way, even if you change your model, at least like everything's still similar because you're still the same person, the same content. You know what I mean? Like you're familiar at least.
That is all very good advice. Well, Savvy, I would like to thank you very, very much for coming on to the Q&A. I always enjoy tuning into your stream and saying hello and either listening to you reading a book or watching all the horror games or horror videos to get together during the streams. It's always a lot of fun.
And I appreciate you for tuning in. I appreciate you a lot. Thank you. And thank you for having me.
All right. Well, my next Q&A should be on Wednesday with Pixel. Give me Pixie Pop. I had to be rescheduled because he wasn't feeling well. And tune in then. We will see you all later. Bye bye, everyone.
Bye.
Hey, let me get one of those.